Okay, good morning, everybody. Thursday, 6th of July. Sort of day where if you believe one forecast, you'll be sorely disappointed. If you believe this forecast, it might provide a little bit more realism. So low pressure out in the Atlantic. We're still very much under the influence of low pressure currently, and we are picking up a southwesterly flow over the country with fronts not too far away, not affecting us today. But as you can see throughout the weekend, they will never be too far away. And the picture effectively continues to look unsettled. Those winds are coming from the south now, 15 to 20 knots southwesterlies. As we look at the public forecast this morning, you'll see that we have a fairly mixed day. Odd chance of a shower, southwesterly winds, and visibility of around 30 kilometres or so. Also worth bearing in mind that that wind has gone round, that we're going to see a little bit more of a wind gradient today than we have in the last couple of days, especially on 2-3, which does provide a little bit of an undershooting opportunity. So just keep your wits about you as we continue to go through the day. So that wind will continue to increase. Brightening up later in the day with a top temperature looking around 20 degrees or so for our area, and a dew point of around 9. Just looking at soundings, and this is the big gotcha for today. That is the Larkhill sounding from 6 o'clock this morning, and as you can see, it's fairly unstable, but then it hits an inversion at around maybe sort of 4.5 to 5,000 feet, 5.5, and that means that we are likely to see a lot of spread out at some point during the day. As you can see, those lines do touch. This is where the forecast is sort of slightly off, I would say, in terms of what you see on Top Meteo and SkySight, because I don't think it's predicted the inversion to be that strong. But yeah, fairly strong inversion, unstable beneath it, but the chance of spread out. Temperature currently at 15 degrees, dew point at 10. Picture outside is that. You can see the clouds already trapped under an inversion. So worth bearing in mind. METARs and TAFs, well, it doesn't really give you too much indication, but broken at 5,600, where that inversion currently is, few at 1,600 as well, and southwesterly wind already there, with the TAF showing few at 3,000 for the day. Yeah, I think that's not taken into account the high stuff, probably at 5,000 to 6,000 feet or so. Okay, well, to Top Meteo we go, and as you will see, it does think that we are in the best area, but I'll show you where this gets it wrong. It looks better out towards East Anglia and Kent, but as we go through the day, let's just start really early. You can see if I show in cloud amounts, that it doesn't particularly, this is 9 o'clock, it doesn't really pick up the inversions that there. It just shows it'll be blue skies and some cumulus by sort of 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. So with that in mind, we have to revise the figures down a bit. And as you go through the day, and you can see it does eventually show sort of spread outs coming in, but it's probably weaker affair, and then going blue this evening, which sort of is planned, but then yeah, that's probably what you'd expect given the coast is not too far away. So looking at Top Meteo, then these are thermal heights, and you can see that it thinks at lunchtime we might see sort of 1,300 meters, so 3,500 feet above Lasham. I think if this inversion was to remain in place, it's going to be a lot weaker than that. You can see it does correctly recognise it being a little bit weaker towards Competition Enterprise down in the West Country. But I sort of think that it's showing cloud bases around here of around 4,500 feet or so above sea level, just 5,000 feet above sea level, is potentially a little bit on the optimistic side. We're probably looking at cumulus under an inversion with lots of spread outs, and maybe it just brightening up as we get drier air in later today. Unfortunately, that drier air will be a little bit more from the sea. This afternoon, it does say that the air potentially getting continually higher climbs, and it may be that once that top cover's gone, that there is some brief good air before the sea air comes in. But yeah, a day to sort of view with caution, because the American model, which runs top meteo, just doesn't pick up moisture at height very well. So locally soarable cross country for the brave. Be aware of spread outs. If you were to believe this, your site forecast would be fairly strong thermals just after lunchtime. Knock it down a knot and probably bring the cloud base down 1,000 feet, and you've probably got it about right. So nothing too drastic, but yeah, it's a shame that the models just don't pick it up, because it's showing 21 degrees, which I think we were to look back to our previous forecast, we're unlikely to get much more than 20, if that. And yeah, strong north and southwesterly winds. Okay, airspace wise, a couple of things to consider. First of all, it is the British Grand Prix, and Western have their sort of shuttle service. So there is a restricted area temporary valid all day for this area. So if you're going there, it's up to 2,500 feet. You could fly over the top, but yeah, if you're in that area, please avoid. You cannot go in it. And over to the rest today, 36, which is this big circle, is not actually a NOTAM of great significance. It's just telling us that somebody made a massive error in creating the air tattoo NOTAM next week, so ignore that. However, 36 is article dropping at Cirencester, so just be aware of that. There will be article dropping happening for quite a bit of the day. Farnborough CTA has been reclassified between 1550 and 1650 local to Class D. That means there's a raw flight going out of Farnborough. So just bear that in mind, that the Class E will not be available for an hour between about just before 4 and 5 o'clock. Not that I think you'll be needing it. Elsewhere, Little Rissington ATZ number 38, that is active. I think I provided you with the information. I'll just check that that is valid from today. It had come up on my NOTAM. No, actually, that's correction from me. That's 7th of July. That's the TOW Western airspace is valid from 7th of July, not today. It had come up on my app a little bit early, but worth noting anyway from tomorrow that that's not applicable. So Silverstone is cold today. It hasn't picked up on the other one. That's why we use two NOTAM sources. So Silverstone is cold. Lots of activity up in Lincolnshire, but I don't think you're going up that far. And similar, there's danger areas and stuff active in East Anglia, but why would you need to know about that if you're just staying local? But yeah, west on the greens active as well. But aside from that, fairly straightforwards. So yeah. Operationally today, runway 23 is in use. So winching down there, aerochain from this side of the runway. We've got a strong enough southwesterly components that it'll be worth being on 23. And looking at movements today, no big jets, but we do have an extra 300 due in about 12:30 and then due out at about 4:30. So just bear that in mind. So runway 23 and a day of quite a lot of moisture and spread outs, but at least to be flyable. See you out there. Bye for now.